What's up, everybody? Welcome to another video. Welcome to Sire's Domain, where we talk a lot about politics as well as the entertainment industry, because you and I both know that the entertainment industry is driveling with a lot of politics. Now, interesting turn of event with the Derek Chauvin trial. Now, last week, just a week ago, Derek Chauvin was found guilty of all three counts of murder. That is second-degree murder, third-degree murder, as well as a second-degree manslaughter, just for good measure in there. Shocker. But however, just a week later, it seems like people are starting to see some kind of a crack in the jury system by the name of Brandon Mitchel. Now, this is a serious issue. Now, Brandon Mitchel is one of the jurors who has been making the round recently, even before sentencing. And according to what I read about this particular case, it's going to take about 8 weeks for sentencing. But this guy could not wait, given the fact that majority of the jurors had heat on them and their privacy needed to be kept. But he doesn't care about that. He's out there giving interviews. Now, last week, I stumbled over one of the interviews that he gave, and that interview actually made me wonder about his impartiality, or should I say partiality. Take a look.
And you, of course, voted to convict Chauvin, but was there anything at all, any kind of evidence or testimony presented by the defense that ever gave you pause about Chauvin's guilt?
No. I thought their strongest point was just the opening statement, and I just waited for an aha moment the entire time. I was waiting for that moment for them to have some evidence that was just damning and just be like, wow, that's that piece of evidence that they maybe could use that can change my mind, but I never seen it.
Now, given the sort of person that I am, I'm not a nitpicker when it comes to words, but when I listened to what he said, and in a quote, he said, waiting for that aha moment, to me, that implied that this guy already had his mind made up about Derek Chauvin, that Derek Chauvin was guilty, and he was waiting for the defense to actually provide something that would make him say, aha! That makes him innocent. Now, for me, I gotta give you a disclaimer here. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know too much about the court of law, but I do know that when it comes to a fair trial and justice system, a defendant is innocent until proven guilty. But from what this juror is implying, it is the exact opposite, which is he has seen the defendant as guilty and needs to be proven innocent. This is weird when it comes from a juror. I can understand when it comes from public opinions like people like you and I, but when you're a juror, you have to go in there with the impartiality, and the impartiality means that you have to look at the defendant regardless of everything that you know. You have to go in there with the assumption and the belief that this person is innocent in order for you to be able to come to a fair conclusion. But this is not the case with this guy, and this is not the only thing that actually drew questions about this guy. What's really making me make this video was this story from the Washington Post. Now, if you know the Washington Post, you will know that they are a very left-wing media outlet. So the reason why I dove into them is I don't want people to think that I am impartial when I am actually searching for resources or information on this channel. I actually use all sorts of media outlet, whether left-wing or right-wing, especially when a left-wing media outlet is not trying to suppress a news like this. Well, you know that there's something up. So what's up? What is the news in the last 24 hours regarding Brandon Mitchel? So according to the caption from the Washington Post, it says, photo of Chauvin's juror wearing BLM t-shirt at match raises questions of impartiality, experts say. I love the way that they said experts say, because they don't want to say that they're the ones saying it. They're saying it's experts that are saying it because they know that their base will chew them alive if they actually said they were the ones giving this opinion. So they have to push that responsibility onto someone else. So let's get into this article, but I want to ask you guys to help me out by hitting that like button before we do that, because that is really massively important to the channel, and I do really appreciate it. Now, with that important spiel out the way, let's get straight into the meat and the potatoes of today. So the article says, a photo that has surfaced in recent days of a juror in the murder trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has prompted questions about the juror's impartiality. Legal experts say they had to mention that in there. So, the photos shared by several news sites show Brandon Mitchel, a 31-year-old high school basketball coach in Minneapolis, standing next to two relatives wearing a black t-shirt with a picture of Martin Luther King with the words, quote, "Get your knee off our necks." Keep that in mind, as well as a black baseball cap with the letters BLM, for Black Lives Matter. Notice that what he was wearing was a direct reference to a protest against police brutality in reference to the George Floyd situation. Everybody in the world knows that. So this raises a lot of questions. And this is how the local news actually covered that particular story.
Tonight, a photo is raising questions about one of the jurors who convicted Derek Chauvin of murder.
The picture shows Brandon Mitchell at the March on Washington back in August wearing a shirt that says, "Get your knee off our necks." WCCO Susan Elizabeth Littlefield found out why some say it could cause problems in court and why Mitchell says he didn't do anything wrong.
It was huge to get people getting voter turnout. So being a part of that and being able to attend, the same location where Martin Luther King gave his speech was a historic moment.
The August 2020 March on Washington was planned to recommit to Dr. King's dream. George Floyd's family was there too to speak out against police violence.
I'm marching for George, for Brianna.
Brandon Mitchell told WCCO he was there to take part in a voter registration rally, not to protest, and that he was an unbiased juror.
Either way, I was going to D.C. for this event, even if George Floyd was still alive.
It just happened to be that was a t-shirt you had because it was in 2020.
Correct.
And there was nothing that you did that would have been interpreted as a protest to George Floyd or something like that.
Not even close. Not even close.
But according to the Star Tribune, Mitchell said that he responded no to a question asking if he or anyone else close to him had ever participated in a protest over police use of force or police brutality. Remember, he said not him or anyone else close to him. It would be hard to prove because he was in that photo with relatives who were also there, probably for a different purpose, because he did answer and tell us why he was there.
We spoke with the law professor about what that photo could mean for the case.
Did the juror speak the truth, or alternatively, did the juror say something untrue during questioning? But the other thing to keep in mind is, did the lawyers do their job in investigating the juror?
Before being selected, Mitchell filled out this questionnaire. He said he had never attended protests over police brutality in Minnesota or beyond. He also answered a question on Black Lives Matter, saying Black lives just want to be treated as equals and not killed or treated in an aggressive manner simply because they are Black.
And if he had been asked about it and he tried to hide it, that could be an issue. But at this point, I don't see any evidence that he tried to hide it.
The defense does now have the right to ask Judge Cahill to go back and question Mitchell. If that happens, the judge could decide if the verdict will stand.
It's really hard to overturn a conviction, and courts are especially reluctant to interfere with the jury deliberation process.
Susan Elizabeth Littlefield, WCCO 4 News.
In as much as they are trying to shift the blame and say, well, you can always blame the lawyer, they're really not saying that there is no problem with this particular thing. In my own personal opinion, there might be an issue. However, an expert, a jury consultant by the name of Expert Tuerkheimer, said that it is likely that Chauvin's defense attorney, Eric J. Nelson, will use this information to push for an appeal, but argued that the photo itself would not be enough to dismiss the conviction. So this might end up being a nothing burger at the end of the day. But if you ask me, it's very hard when you take a good look at all the evidences, the questions that he answered, that he wasn't involved or anybody that he knows ever been involved in a protest. And when you look at the quotes that he made, Black lives just want to be treated as equals and not killed or treated in an aggressive manner simply because they are Black. Kind of a quote means that this guy has an SJW complex, which means he already has a bias complex when it comes to this particular issue. So you don't let people like that in through the cracks. And there's a lot of questions here, but it might end up being a nothing burger. Like I said before, it might end up being nothing and nothing might come out of this, which I am not saying whether it will or it will not. But however, I will say this, in my own personal opinion, given all the evidences that has been presented, the fact that this guy said he was waiting for an aha moment, the fact that this guy has a political leaning towards BLM, the fact that this guy was at a rally that also was a protest for George Floyd, but is making an excuse that he was at the rally for something else, and also the fact that this guy is giving interviews even before the sentencing has been made, putting himself out there, whereas he should actually be hiding himself. It really comes to question. It is really hard for me to say with a straight face that this guy is impartial, in my own personal opinion. But the real issue I am finding with this right now is this. If I was this guy, if I was a juror, the last thing I would want is for people to know who I am in such a polarized state that we are in today. As we well know, a lot of people are split in political opinions into two. There are those people who believe that Derek Chauvin did not get a fair trial. However, there are some other people who believe that the trial was fair, but that Derek Chauvin did not get the appropriate charges that he needed to be gotten. Some people believe that Derek Chauvin needed to get a capital punishment, and some are actually out there ready to actually do something violent if they didn't get what they wanted. So why would you be in the middle of that? Why would you want to be in the middle of that? Because you are doomed if you do, and you are doomed if you don't. Everybody is seriously going to hate you. So I don't know why this guy is out there. Maybe he wants his 15 minutes of fame because he's just granting interviews left, right, and center. But there just comes a time when somebody needs to learn how to shut up. Now, when it comes to the Derek Chauvin trial itself, I do have questions as per the impartiality of the judges, but the judgment in general, I really don't care. That this guy goes to prison, I'm not going to lose a sleep over it, because I personally think that this guy is a son of a bitch, he's a douchebag, and an absolute scumbag himself, because what this guy did, even when you watch the entire 45 minutes, I know a lot of people on the right are saying we now have more context and that there is more proof that Derek Chauvin wasn't guilty of maybe third and second degree murder, which you may argue about. But the things that this guy did, it is highly hard to actually prove that there wasn't some element of, craziness in there. I would say craziness, and that's me putting it mildly. Recklessness, egotistic, and all that show of power. You can put all those things into place. So personally for me, I wouldn't lose any sleep. Now, for people on the right, a lot of people need to understand this. Nobody's saying that Derek Chauvin is not guilty, because I know they're attacking a lot of people on the right, but a lot of people believe that the trial wasn't fair. These are two different things in my opinion. You may believe that this guy is guilty, but you may also believe that the trial wasn't fair. It's two different things. It's not the same. It's not the same thing at all. So basically, the argument now could be a big problem if by any chance the sentencing is overturned as a result of what this guy did. This guy is in big trouble. So while he's out there trying to strut his stuff that, yes, I'm one of the people that put Derek Chauvin in prison, and try to feel like he's like John Cusack from that movie. If you've never seen it, you should see that movie. It's very, very interesting, but you would never think that something like that could happen in real life. But this guy comes very, very, very close. I tell you, very, very close. And if investigations just prove that this guy was impartial and somehow they overturn it, which I'm not hoping they do. I seriously don't hope that they overturn this particular case. If something does happen and they overturn it, he's going to be in big trouble. And that trouble is going to be coming from the people that he's standing for. The Black Lives Matter people, the people on the left. That's the problem. So anyway, you guys, this is what I think about this whole thing. I think this guy is an absolute idiot and a dummy. But you let me know what you think about this whole thing in the comment section below. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please feel free to hit that thumbs up button below, because that massively helps the video. And I will be catching you guys sooner rather than later. Take care of yourself. Peace, and Saya's out of here. Catch you guys on the next.
And I just waited for an aha moment the entire